All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is October the 23rd, 2017. This is a Monday night webinar, and tonight we're going to be talking about trading the market open. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we might have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems, should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right, if not, we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's see, I watched the webinar on taking aggressive and conservative trades. It seems like you suggest tight stops for aggressive trades and identified lightning for conservative trades. I'm understanding this correctly. Yeah, pretty much, Pete, on your question there, because, you know, if you're going to really scalp, you're going to want to get in and out of quite a few trades in the morning, and that's not for everyone. But I personally like that particular way, you know, of trading. But I also do some, well, it's kind of a mixture. Okay, well, let's go ahead and go to some charts and I'll show you some things. First of all, I try to start most webinars because we have new people coming in all the time. And then we're going to have a quiz right after this. Okay, I've technically got two price actions on this particular chart. And what I want to know is where is the identified swing on each of these lightning charts right here, and which side is the uptrend and which side is the downtrend. Now that's pretty basic, but believe me, you wouldn't believe how many times I get asked, you know, where a particular swing is, what direction are we going, and things like that. Now keep in mind there are 4 trends on your charts, but even though we have those lightning power meters and things, you still have to do some diagnosis yourself. Okay, especially around the open. Okay, now so real quick, just let me know, and I won't single out anybody. Okay, let's see, some answers coming in, or several people coming in. So you're saying that the right is up and the left is down. Okay, so it looks like everybody's getting that. I've got several people chiming in on that. I don't think everybody has, because I got quite a few people in the room, and I've gotten probably 25 answers is all. Okay, but that's exactly correct. Okay, now if this is an uptrend and this is a downtrend, then where's the swing on each of those downtrend and uptrend? Okay, now you can't really see the pricing and everything because I've got this basically blocked out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a line onto the chart and we'll turn it white. And I want everybody to tell me where the swing is on both of these charts. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's just draw a line instead. Okay, now everybody should know by now with coming to our webinars, and this, like I said, this is fairly basic, but you would be surprised if you'll keep things simple and concise. You can make more money trading than all these people that use every kind of indicator out there. They get in too late, they put too tight of stops, that type of thing. Okay, because identified swings are the key to trading. Okay, now if you're in an uptrend and you have a low and you have a high and you have another low, okay, you don't know that this is the identified swing, obviously, until it takes that out. So wouldn't that be our identified swing right here? See there? Because we have a high, we have a low, we have a higher high. So that's your identified swing right there exactly on this particular side. Everybody see that? Okay, so if you're looking at this chart and you're doing the opposite over on the other side, you have a high, you have a low. You don't know this is a lower high until when it takes out this swing. So obviously the identified swing on this chart is right there. right? And that's really absolutely as basic as it gets, but it will make a world of difference in your trading. Because, for instance, let's say that this had done something like this, and I'll get this out of the way. But then after that, it had done something like this. Like this, and then had gone up like that, and then gone back down like that. Now, looking to the left to trade the right, you can clearly see that your swing's way up here. So you're obviously looking to break this over here now that I've connected these two charts, but that does not mean that you can't get into this trade here, or even on these breaks, okay? Because then you look to the left and see resistance. For instance, that you're looking at that area to your left for resistance, so you could take some coin, right? And then you look over here for some more resistance, and you could take some more coin. And then you look over here for some more, and by that time, you've not only broken the little micro swings, but you've also broken the identified swing on the left side of the chart. Everybody see that? Okay. Let me let that sink in for a couple of minutes, because this is not a real chart right here. This is just looking at higher lows and higher highs, but also looking at two different types of trends. You're basically looking at a micro trend, and you're looking at more of a medium trend. Okay, so with this in mind, we're going to go to a little bit more complicated, and I'm going to simply ask, on this chart, we're going to do a different. This one I've chosen Lightning 4 to be my swings. And now I want everybody to tell me where the identified swing is on this chart, or swings, and the number of it, because it's clearly got numbers on it. Anybody want to take a guess at it? I won't single anybody out, I promise. Anybody? 15, 12, 70. Let's see where. Now keep in mind, don't look at these green and yellow. What I'm talking about, forget the green and yellow. What I'm talking about right now is the white and the blue. We're looking at the Lightning 4 right now. Okay. All right. I'm getting some people that are getting it. Good deal. All right. Anybody want to hazard to guess where it's at? If you looked at the chart I had just a minute ago, and I've already erased it, so we won't go back to it, but you have a high, you have a low, you have a lower high, but is that swing established yet? And the answer is no, right? Because it didn't take out the swing here. If it would have done this, that would be an established swing, right? But it didn't do that. So you look over here and you say, okay, well, it went up higher than here, right? But it still didn't go higher than here. So you have a high, you have a low. Skip this one because it never took out the bottom. So high, low, lower high, but only if it takes out the swing. Okay, and looky there. It took out the swing, didn't it? So our identified swing is right there. Everybody see that? And by the way, there's not another one on this chart. Does everybody know why? You think, well, wait a minute, this took out this swing over here. See here, you have a low, you have a high. Do you have a higher low? Nope. You have the same low. See that? So therefore, this high right here, right across here, is not higher than this one here. So isn't this still a lower high? Correct, right? Everybody see that? A bunch of you got it, and I'm glad to see that too, because, when you can look at a chart like that and you can pick out the identified swing, and it's very, very important to be able to do it, believe me. If you can do that, you'll save yourself a lot of errors on your charts, you know, as far as getting into the wrong spot and things like that. Okay. All right. So let's go to the actual chart. And this is the actual chart, by the way, but it doesn't have all the pricing and everything on it. Okay. So let me ask you a question here. If you were thinking that this was a short background still, you were correct, right? See your high, your low, your lower high so far. Okay. You've got your double bottom right here. So really you just had along in here, this is your action, right? Down to here. And then this, basically it's in a range, right? But what would you do if you were trading this chart? Now I've got a little more information on this chart than what you're seeing right here, but I want to get an idea of people in the room choosing where to take this trade. Okay? Anybody? Well, let's look at our lightning swings, just like we did on that black chart. Let's just draw them. Okay, so you have a low, a high, a higher low, higher low, barely higher high, higher low, barely higher high, but I wouldn't count this one because it wicked it. So this is your swing, right? That's your swing. So if you drew a line under here, wouldn't you think more than likely when it breaks that it's going to break down? But a good retracement trader can actually wait. See here what happens? See there? That's what we got this morning. See how that came back perfectly and kissed that line right there? And remember, we actually boxed this in at the open of the market. And that's how we got that gigantic trade. Okay? Because we diagnosed our charts. Now, you know, we won't be doing it like we're doing here in this webinar because obviously we're all trying our dead level best to trade, you know, make coin, call the right shots and everything like that, right? But if you learn these general ideas of how to see the lightning on your charts, you know, for instance, if you looked, let's just look from right here only for right now. You've got a high, you have a low, you have a lower high, you have a lower low, you have a lower high, but you don't have a lower low, right? See that? Wicked. So where is your identified swing on the left? Isn't it right here? See that swing? Okay. So when you see something like this in real time, aren't you ready? For instance, see our predictor right here? It came right to it, by the way. Look at that. Just a perfect predictor trade. Now, does that mean you have to take the trade instantly when it's right there? No, you could actually box this little area in. Keep it in mind you have to put your stop above here. Okay. Now, when we actually do this, you know, in the room, the one chart that will more than likely give you a little headache before she goes your way is NASDAQ. Okay. Russell's a lot finer tuned, so to speak. You know, it seems to do the right thing quite often. Okay. So let me ask you a question now. If you were in this trade and you made good money, okay, and you boxed it in, where would your stop be on this chart? Anybody? Wouldn't it be lightning on the left? Wouldn't that be the better place to do it? Well, if you do put your stop way up here, keep in mind if you don't take some coin along this route down, and remember when you're looking at lightning, keep in mind that there are 4 trends on your chart. Let me show you real quick. This is your lightning 3 identified swing, right? This is your lightning 2, low, high, higher low, but not until you know it takes out the swing. Here to the left, that's your higher low only when it takes out that swing. Okay, it's only the new low when it takes out this swing. It's only the new low when it takes out this swing. It's only the new low when it takes out that swing. Everybody see that? But what about when it starts, well, hitting a bottom, to give an example? You know, couldn't you actually protect your coin, especially if you were in multiples? Couldn't you protect your coin with lightning? Everybody see that? Because what will happen if you don't do that, you'll end up giving a lot of your coin back. I've done it myself because you think, wow, I'm just going to stay with this thing as long as it doesn't take out 15.10.90. But what if you got in here at 15.09.90? So you got 10 ticks loss with, say, 4 contracts. Let's just say you had 4 contracts. Okay, so 10 ticks times 4 contracts is how much, everyone? 10 ticks times 4 contracts. It's $200, right? So you're taking a chance of giving at the open of the market. What if this did this? Let's say that it came down to support right here where this lightning is and then just shot up. Okay, now we know it didn't do that because your stop would have been here to begin with. But once it starts taking out some lows, like so, and you watch it do the old lightning dance, wouldn't it be a really good idea to put a stop at lightning? Or at least a close? And it is, isn't it? Now, looking at this chart, if you were saying, okay, we went down for 7 minutes after the open, okay, where would this chart change trends if it was to change trends? On the left, not the right. Anybody? Wouldn't it be right here? Wouldn't it be right there? So in other words, if this was to, let's say for instance that this was to start still heading down, but it takes this out, then you want to basically either get out of the trade or at least get out of all but say 1 contract, to give an example. Let's say that you had 4 contracts going here, okay, and you took some profit, but you didn't even take it here because this bar went down, this bar went down, then this bar went up, this bar went up, and this bar went down. So technically you didn't even have to take profit yet. See what I mean? Because you got a little cluster, you didn't get any kind of a pullback. Okay, but it's still a good idea to protect some coin on multiple contracts right there, because that's lightning. Because what if this did this? We don't know what it did yet, right? But I'm gonna just draw of what I see all the time that can happen. And then it comes back and it rests on top of the previous support, and then it does its zigzag up, right? But what would it do to change the trend? You would have to take out this swing. Okay, so if you were looking at, let's say that this was to decide to go up, you don't really want to just literally buy it when it takes out the swing. Okay, now if it gets to mid-band and you see you've got some room, like let's say mid-band was way down here at the time and you saw that you could easily get up to here for resistance, yeah, you can take that. But keep in mind that if it doesn't go above resistance, that you're probably going to roll over. Okay, because if you look at the overall trend on the chart, let me just show you. I'll just draw it manually real quick from this side. We'll just go to this eye. I think sometimes when you see it drawn rather than with lightning, it makes a lot of sense because I'm drawing it manually. Everybody see this? I'm drawing this manually. Okay. Now, doesn't that prove to you that that's your identified swing on more of a medium? You know, remember you got 4 trends on the chart. We showed them right here. You have, well, it showed 3 of them. Okay. But you don't know this is your new higher low until it takes out that swing, right? Okay, so, and keep in mind that this one does a whole lot of taking out those little swings. This is lightning 1. This is lightning 2. Okay, but this is the same chart. This was just showing a basically, you know, where I could draw it on a chart just to show you what you could see. I basically did the lightning 2, if I remember right, and then I drew lightning 1, you know, as I was seeing it, looking at lightning 2. This is just to show how each one of them work, though. But you can clearly see, though, that if you have a high, a low, a lower high, lower low, lower high, and lower low, that this is an identified swing. Okay. Now, if this doesn't get taken out on a retrace, then you could pretty much count on the fact you're going to still head down. Okay. But if it does take it out on a retrace, you might be able to see that you're very possibly changing trends. Everybody see that? Now, does this mean that you want to take a long like here? Not really, unless you're a really gutsy trader. I showed you one today where I had some nice profit in it, but because I didn't get out when I wanted to, I let it go at the stop and it got it break even. Okay? But wasn't the better trade still the short, right? Because you've got to look at all of these trends. Okay? So let's say, for instance, we don't know where this went exactly because, you know, I'm not remembering exactly. I'm pretty sure Russell kept going down, but let's just see, and we'll turn on the chart and just see. Now, I drew these manually, but let's just see how close to accurate I am. Probably fairly accurate because I see these charts time and time again. Let's just see what happened here real quick. Looks like you're going down a little bit further. Okay, now let's draw it in real quick, because we have a real right now, don't we? We have an absolute real. Let's get rid of the fake. Right? So far. And if you look at the lightning 1, though, it would be more like this, and like this, and like this. Okay? Everybody see that that's your identified swing on this chart? So couldn't you put your stop there? See how it still kept going down, so you were okay on this trade. But notice how this is an identified swing at 15:08:30 now. Everybody see that? So let's see if it would take your stop out and if you were smarter getting out on the actual swing. Keeping in mind that this is what we consider to be your medium swing. Okay? Look at that. Took it out, didn't it? Okay? Now, if you were looking at this chart in real time, and we did in the room this morning, so where would we draw our lines on this chart? We need a lower high than this. We see to the left we've got an area right there that looks like they could test it. Okay? So pretty much in this area right through here is actually a sweet spot for another short unless it breaks this. Everybody see that? We're already out of our long. Okay? We're already out of our long. Now, you could start boxing this in, right? Remember when Charles and I said to box this in the room this morning? You got support right here. Let's just draw a box and let's see if we can get an actual trade. Would have to close below. I got this going like 10 times and it's still slow. And by the way, if you get faked into a trade, you know, where it just barely bips out, if it makes, see like that right there, okay, see where that bipped out and then it pops right back in, you can get out of that trade. Okay, or what can you do also, everyone? You can wait for lightning to quit forming. Because what is it doing on this side of the chart right now? I'm going to turn this down just a little bit. Let's say that you didn't get in on here. You didn't box it in. Because look at those bars went straight up, then it pulled back. That was your little fake in. So let's look at the chart and let's draw it some more. Let's let it go ahead and play. We don't know this is an identified swing yet, do we? By what I said earlier. Now you do. See there? Everybody see what's happening right now on your chart? Where your identified swings? Still going up. Look at that. Everybody remember this trade in the room this morning? Now, some of you probably already took a long here, but remember, if you look to the left to trade the right, you might not have wanted to do that. Look at that perfect entry right there. If you were an object trader, does everybody see where you could put the box on this chart? Or how about just wait for lightning to be broken? There's lightning on the left. Or if it happens to get a high, a low, a lower high, and even breaks a little higher, which it could. Couldn't you be in the trade right there? Just took out lightning. Everybody see that? This, by the way, will keep you from getting faked into some of these little tiny boxes. Remember this morning, I think Charles talked about a little box on YM. Okay, one thing you got to be careful with a little box, you don't really know which way it's going at that particular moment because you haven't really finished any kind of lightning. Now, did we finish lightning just now? I'm drawing this manually, but I'll show you that you're actually doing it, and we'll draw the real-time lightning. Let's just draw it from down here. Followed my lines exactly, didn't it? See there? Now that's our lightning 2. Let's draw lightning 1 also. We'll draw it from here since it's actually more from here. See your swing? Is that an identified swing? Yes. See the high, the low, the higher high? That's an identified swing. So wasn't that a smarter place to put the box? Absolutely. Rather than just hitting the button. Now, remember, we drew this in the room this morning. We actually even said 1510, 90 was your resistance. Some of our people nailed the trade right up here on the bar close or even at the line. Okay, but that can be risky because if you're at resistance, it can blow right through it too. Okay, now another way that you can do this trade, if you're a little bit more conservative, see the green stealth? Wait for a red one. Let's just see if we can get a red one. Probably too quick for me. I'll go ahead and fix these bars too. They're a little bit jumbled. Everybody see that? Now, does anybody have trouble with seeing where the identified swing is on these charts? It makes it pretty easy to see, doesn't it? When you actually, draw it if you have to with lightning, or teach yourself to draw it by drawing it manually on your charts and see if when you draw it, lightning doesn't do exactly what you drew. Because we developed lightning to actually be a tool that we could all use. And remember, identified swings are the way to go. Okay? Because until you get an identified swing, okay, on this particular one, isn't it right there? On this particular one, isn't it right here? See? And then if it breaks the swing over here, isn't it here? And then here? I'm drawing that pretty bad. But anyway, you can see the identified swings. Okay? And the same way on this chart over here. So keeping in mind that identified swings will make a world of difference in you making really, really good money. Okay. Now I got in late on this one because we obviously would have gotten in right here. If you get in with stealth, that's a very conservative entry, but also keep in mind that it has to literally change directions, okay, for you to get that trade. Now let's run this trade and let's see if we can all get the next trade exactly the way we called it in the room this morning. Okay. We'll use lightning on the chart. Let's just see what it does. Okay. I'm going to just get my targets out of the way. We're just going to go for a gusto. I mean, it's easy. Obviously, in hindsight, we do know that Russell went down. But what I'm trying to show you, though, is how you can see it in real time because we called it in real time. You know, it wasn't like, oh, look, we're short on Russell. No, we actually called the area. Okay. All right. Let's just watch this chart, and y'all tell me. Okay. Y'all tell me when you see that you should more than likely start protecting your trade. Now this is lightning 2. This is lightning 1. There's lightning 2 even. See that? Well, you're welcome, Mario. Mario says, yes, you did actually call it in real time. And I really appreciate you showing us how to read those charts. Well, because see, one thing about it with us actually calling on, 5 charts to give an example, okay, we've all got to be able to read our charts accordingly. Was this an identified swing, by the way? This one here barely took that out. It wicked it. See what I'm getting at? On a downtrend, was that our identified swing or is it this one? Well, we don't know yet, but isn't it more than likely that one? That's the way they'll wick you out of these trades, by the way. Now, that's for sure your identified swing, isn't it? Everybody see that? Now, what if you were trading this and keeping all these contracts? Now, I wouldn't recommend doing this. I would probably say, literally take 2 off, right? Because you don't want to ride 4 contracts down with a 10-tick pullback or something like that. Let's see, Kenneth, I continue occasionally to have a problem with deciding how far back to draw the lines on retrace and knowing where the exact swing to be considered the potential reversal point. Well, one thing that I personally like to do is I like to look at my charts on the left and the right. Okay, the left, you're simply looking at the swing that's identified. This is your identified swing right here. Now on the right, you could actually have a low, a high, a higher low, higher high, not get higher than this and still roll over, right? Okay, now where's your identified swing on this chart now? Well, your lightning 1 is right here. That's a little tight for me. I'm not going to go quite that loose simply because you didn't take out the swing by very much. Okay, let's see if we can. By the way, look at stealth too. Stealth was just screaming to head down with this market this morning. Okay, but we're going to actually get out of the trade at literally the exact spot that I called it out this morning, because we're going to be watching it in real time and we're going to see it in real time what it's doing. Where's your identified swing? Right there. If you see one really close like that, go ahead and bring it back 1. See it? When they're real close like that, that's your identified swing, but that one's really close to the identified swing, so sometimes I pull it back to the secondary one. Okay? Looking to the left to trade the right can make all the difference in the world of how much money you make trading. Because your lightning on the left is doing the old lightning dance down. Now, you tell me when it starts doing on the right the lightning dance up. If it does. We don't know yet. We may know pretty soon, though. We'll see. They're hesitating a little bit, aren't they? Doesn't mean they won't crater it some more. That's fine with us if they do. Look how power meter just went green. Why did it go green? Because you had a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high. So that's an identified swing. This is your true identified swing right here. Nice and identified, by the way. And you could protect your coin like that. Okay? If they take it out, then guess what? They're no longer respecting their downtrend. Now, so far they still are, aren't they? Okay? Now, remember this morning we actually said go ahead and use predictor because this thing was really heading down. Now, keep in mind that from 1503.40 to 1506.30 is a lot of coin to give back with two contracts even. Okay? But if you're trying to ride a gusto, you can actually, pretty much trust these predictors. Now, I'd be out of this trade. See it right here? Okay. Now, what do you want to do though if you decide to get back in this trade? Same way we do on every trade. Let's watch lightning. You have a high, you have a low, same high, so it discounts that. So you have a low, a high, a higher low, but it still hadn't taken out the top. We'll just hit it manually if we see it. I'm going to draw some lines on the chart. I see support right across here, like so. I would probably take a break of 1503.30. It wicked it. I'll take it. Got to put my stop above the swing though. Okay? Everybody see that? How you do that? We called that trade in the room this morning also. Now we actually kept the trade with the predictor on that particular one, remember? And then we were thankful that it finally did head down again, which was good. Okay? But you don't have to let it do that because looking to the left to trade the right, you can actually see you have a low, you have a high, you have a higher low. If they take this out right here, wouldn't that be your stop? Close of the bar maybe? Something like that. That looks like a double bottom to me. We don't know yet, but it may be. There you go. We just got our trade. Just got the bottom. Okay. Now, when you start getting sideways like this, what's the key to trading this? Well, wait for the retrace. We already got a trade. We got to the bottom. So let's watch for lightning one more time and see if we can get it. Everybody beginning to see a little bit easier how to trade these opens? It's a lot easier than it seems if a person really just learns to see the identified swings. Keeping in mind that the left side is not necessarily, where you're going to get in. For instance, this could go long and I'd probably take it. But keep in mind that until they take out the left side, they're not really heading up either. You want to see if we can get in this one? All right, let's see. That's a fairly identified swing. I would probably, more than likely, I would short that right through here, but let's just do the lightning instead. We'll do conservative tonight. Everybody see where lightning is? Well, for sure now it's right here, isn't it? Now that's a predictor. I'd probably do 1 at that predictor. Everybody see why? Predictor. But let's just do it conservative though, just since I said we'll do it conservative. We'll do conservative, but we'll do for a scalp. We know we're scalping now, right? Because we've got what? We've got a sideways market right now anyway. Let's see if we get a little lightning. Don't like that one quite as much, but that is lightning right there. Hopefully we get a little higher one. Maybe. Always look to the left and the right. So we now have a high, a low, technically a lower high, don't we? Now we have a low, we have a high. We may be getting a higher low, but we won't know until it takes this out, if it does. Otherwise, if it takes that out, we're going to go ahead and try a short. Didn't take it out. That's probably a little later than I wanted, but anyway, we'll take it. We'll just see if we get 10 ticks. See how I took the lightning break? Now notice how if you look to the left to trade the right, your entry was way over here. See that swing? Perfectly hit it. I'm pretty sure we called that one out this morning too. This is your conservative trade right here, which with your conservative trade, you've got to put your stop at swings. Okay. Anybody have any questions on it so far? We're right at 41 minutes into the webinar. But I think everybody can clearly see that you can definitely get some of these trades like this. And I'll show you after 9:15 or so, if you want to just scalp a few times, you can certainly do it too. Let's see if we can get, we'll strictly go for shorts since we know we've got a short background. Let's just see if we can get some scalps. Where's our next trade on the chart? Anybody? Well, we always like to look for mid-band trades are really good. But if you want to stay conservative, then trust your lightning. Let's just see if we can get something. It would take this to change trends, right? Low, high, lower, low. So that's our medium trend. And we're still looking for shorts as long as it doesn't do that. Let's see if we can get one. Now keep in mind, if we don't get a zigzag, we won't get a green power meter. That's just straight up off that double bottom. Resistance is right there. I'd probably sell one if it touches that line, but we're going to not do that. We're going to do conservative. There's why I would have grabbed it. But let's do the conservative route. Let's just see if it works out. Okay, so we have a low, we have a high, we have a higher low so far. Now, if this just shoots straight down, we won't get a trade because we won't have lightning on this chart. Everybody see that? That was a perfect mid-band trade, by the way. You should already be in this trade, but let's just take it conservatively. Let's see if it'll still pan out if we take it conservatively. Because we've already missed it way up there at the top. Let's see if we get a little ABC or if it just craters. It may crater. If we could get a full bar up, it would actually give us a lightning swing, but it doesn't look like we're going to get it, so we missed a good trade. We'll try it again. Because we're not going to chase it now, right? It's too late. Perfect entry was where I drew that line with a lower high, by the way. That's the one time that you can't use lightning right there. See how that went straight up and straight down. If it does that, you have no zigzag. Now, what I may add to lightning, though, I've been thinking about this. If you think about, since we all trade 4-range bars, we're really looking for like a 4-range up, a higher low, and a higher high, which if you look at that, that's basically around well, that's too small there, so I drew it wrong, but let's just say that it's something like this. You're basically only looking at about maybe 4 to 6, probably more than 4 because you need one bar at least, right? So more than likely about 8 ticks. You know, for instance, if we were to add it to Object Trader to where if it doesn't find lightning on here, that after 8 ticks, it would go ahead and fire the trade anyway. Because if you look at these consolidation patches, we'll do this one right here, for instance. This was a little bit bigger, but see, that's 15:05:30 to 061, that's 8 ticks. Okay, even this one right here, even if you used lightning, was at 11 ticks. So basically, here's another trade setting up, by the way. Let's look and see where it's going to hit its head. Anybody? You want to take it with lightning since we missed the last one? Got a high, a low, hasn't closed. There we go. We closed. Look at that. We might have us a lightning swing to actually take that trade. Might even have one lower or higher, I mean. Wicked it. Put my stop right above the swing. Now that's a conservative entry, by the way. Does that mean that one will work? Nope. Not at all. We don't know if it'll work or not. But we'd put our stop just above the swing anyway, wouldn't we? Like so. We haven't got a trend change yet, though, have we? Now I'd probably put my stop right there. That's your lightning swing, as long as that bar closes down. If it doesn't, that's a little tight on the stop, but you could go ahead and put it there if you wanted, because we may not get anything. We may just get a break back. We don't know yet. That is not even going to hit our target. See that? Did not even wick our target. We'll see if we can get it. Now, where does everybody think that if we were to, well, let's say that we get this trade, okay, and it works out, where would be our next trade on this chart as long as we don't take out the resistance on the left? Everybody see where resistance is on the left? That is what it would take to change trends. Okay, we still haven't gotten our target just yet. Let's speed it up a little bit and see if we do. Close. Still no cigar though. 10 ticks. It's going sideways. I'd probably raise this up a little bit simply because we want it. And I'd still put my stop just right above here now. Simply because of the sideways, and you do have a low, a high, a higher low, and if they take that out, that would be lightning to the upside. So I would probably protect the trade like that. Okay. Now, if you were looking at this chart though, let's just fast forward it for just a minute and let's see if everybody can pick out the next trade and what direction are we looking for. Anybody? What direction would we be looking for? Let's get rid of the lightning one. Let's kill this trade. I don't like it. I'm going to show you real quick. See if we can pick out a trade. I'm going to get rid of the lines. We're going to draw on our chart. I'll draw it manually just so everybody will see it. We'll just start from here since it's a double bottom. I'm doing this like this mainly so people can see a little bit more how to draw on their charts than even using lightning, just so you'll see. So the question would be this: where's the identified swing on this chart? On the left. Everybody should get it. There you go. There you go. There's a lot of people that pay attention in webinars. That's great. All right, the identified swing is right there. Everybody see that? So until we take this out, what direction are we heading? Let's just fast forward it and see. I may not be able to get it. Look at that. Hit it exactly. Lightning. Couldn't you take it right below there? Want to see if you can get it? Didn't take out our swing. That's a big ABC, and it still respected this resistance. So I'm going to take a shot at it and just see. This was after we closed, so I don't know what it did, but it's looking pretty good to me. I would short a break. That's good enough for me. We'll pull some targets out of the way. We'll put some others at the bottom and some others right there at that swing. Okay, and we would have to put our stop, unfortunately. With lightning, you have a high, a low, lower high. That's our micro lightning. All right, but you can trust micro lightning a lot too, and that's where our stop happens to be, so we're good. Everybody see that? And why did we look for a short, even though that had gone above midband and everything? Well, if you would have boxed it in, you might have gotten 5 ticks. But if you trade with the trend, you'll more than likely make pretty good money. Okay, because the trend is still, until it takes this out, let's just draw it again manually. High, low, pretty much through here, right? And a little higher high, okay? But notice if you look at this, this didn't even close above this swing, except that bar right there, and that's still pretty much wicking to me. So I look to the left to trade the right, and I see this being my identified swing. It never took it out. So this is not an uptrend, is it? So that pretty much means that if you were just looking at this chart just now even, couldn't you actually, let's say you didn't even have a trade on, could you see you have a lightning? Let's just draw it from this side. Like that, like that, like that, boom. See it breaking? Lightning identified swings make a big difference in your trading. I can absolutely promise you that they will. Okay, let's watch and see. Let's put our stop nice and tight. If we get an identified swing, it may take us out anyway. Barely took out that low. There we go. That's close enough to an identified swing to me when they barely take out lows. Everybody see that, where they barely took that out? But still, if you look at this chart, what's the overall direction of the chart? Still down, isn't it? So couldn't you look at conservatively trading it again? Let's just pretend you're not even in a trade yet. Let's watch for it, and let's see if everybody can get the next trade on this chart. You want to? All right, let's get rid of all the lightning. We are getting a little low, a little high, a little higher low, a little higher high. All right, so let's look to the left to trade the right. Right there. Identified swings right here on the left. We'll see if we can get it. Now, if it goes straight down, we're not going to get it. It's got a zigzag. Almost good. Not quite. It's right there. All right. Let's look to the left to trade the right. We have a high, a low, a lower high, lower low, right? So our swing is right there. Everybody see that? Now, does this mean that we're not going to just start going sideways? Well, the way they thrust it down probably will. And we didn't get any targets except one so far. And if we get taken out, what will we be looking for, everyone? Another trade the same. What if we were up nicely and we said, you know what? I'm just going to trust that swing. That's risky, though, because what if it blows through it? I'd probably take the profit or the trade off the table and then go back in it myself. Because what will they probably do? Well, they'll probably take out this little swing or roll over. You want to see if we can get another one? Lightning swings, trying to identify. I need one up though. Now I'd already be in this trade, by the way, because see, that's bar straight down. That's why we've got to add that to Object Trader, because literally you could pretty much see that by this third bar you could be in that trade. And that just makes you miss a good trade otherwise. Everybody see that? But if you want to be conservative, you got to wait for lightning. And, well, let's just see if we can get it. We'll just try it one more time. I put my stop for sure right there. So we can't lose any money on this trade now, can we? There we go. By the way, I would have put my stop right here, I think. Lightning swing. That would be all right. We'll put it here. Okay, what's our overall trend still? Down, right? Well, it went too fast, but everybody clearly see I've got this going 500 times, so I missed it. But everybody see where you could get this trade? I'll draw it, and you'll see it. Wasn't that a break, and that identified that swing? And look at that thing drop. We only missed it because we're going 100 times normal speed, so I just flat missed it, but that's okay. Anybody have any final questions on this? It is definitely a good way to trade, isn't it? And like I say, I'm going to add that feature, I think, to Object Trader, because I like the idea of being able to get in a trade but still use kind of a lightning swing, so to speak. And like I say, see when you have a high, a low, and a little higher high, if you box these in right here, you usually find out they're around 8 or 9 ticks, something like that. See, that one's 0420 to 0550. That's what, 13 ticks on that particular one. So let's say even 12 ticks to give an example. Then you would get in more than likely right here instead of having to wait. So we'll probably add that to Object Trader to where the power meter will go, you know what, if I don't turn, with real time lightning to give an example, and Gary wants that trade, I'm going to give it to him here anyway. You see what I mean? Because there's no sense just letting a good trade go to waste. Okay, because clearly your trade was right up here to begin with, that resistance, wasn't it? So boxing it in, by the way, you'd pretty much box it just above midband, and you could actually take the break of midband too. That's another good way to do it. Okay? Did it stay down all day? Let's just look. I'll fast forward it to 500 times, and you tell me if you should have gone long yet. Identified swing. That's even after 5 o'clock. Identified swing on the left. Identified swing on the right's right here, right? Low, high, higher, low, higher, high. Okay. What would it take to get in this trade, though, long? You'd want to break up, pull back, break up, or you'd want to kiss this resistance area, very possibly get a phantom and roll back through it. And I don't think I've got enough data. I think I just did it to 6:30. Does anybody else know by looking at the chart? Did it ever get up here? My guess is with that double bottom, I've seen this 1,000 times trading. I'll bet you it came up right in this area right here. Took this out a little bit, something like that, and rolled over. The reason I'm saying that too is because they barely took out this low down here. See these areas right here? So when they barely take out the low, you can practically do this. See how much they took it out by? Take that same box on top. Draw your lines. And roughly right in here is about as high as it could have gone to be the same as this one. Everybody see that? 1500.2. Okay, and it could have gone less than that too. We don't know. But if you've got a chart, it's probably, oh, it's rolling over now, Byron says. Okay. So what would we be doing, everyone? We'd be shorting it, right? Now, here's another way to look at this too, and I'll go ahead and close in just a second. If you see a medium swing and you barely take out the lows, like this, count on the fact that this more than likely is not your medium swing. Because what they'll usually do is they'll barely take it out, like this little area here that I drew, maybe even here, just something right around here, and roll back over and still give you another trade. Because where's the truly identified swing on this chart? This barely took it out. This took it out by quite a bit, didn't it? So isn't your swing right here instead? Everybody see it? Thrust, retrace, thrust. This one, retrace, barely takes out the low. That's your identified swing. That's your secondary identified swing on the left. So anybody tell me that more than likely, I'll just about bet you, I'll just leave this line on the chart tonight. And does anybody know if it retraced exactly to right there or very close to it and then rolled over? Because looking to the left, you always have to look to the right and the left to trade. Okay? So if it came into this area right here, this would be a sweet spot to short this thing. Like that. Okay? Now I don't know if it did it, but it came to 1500 even. Look at that, 2 ticks. Everybody see why? Because if you draw on your charts, and I am going to wrap here in just 1 second, but let me just show you. We're going to draw the identified swings. I'm going to draw the more like I consider to be the larger swings when they actually take out the lows. Everybody see that? So if you were looking at this chart in real time and you saw this swing, this was taken out, isn't that your identified swing on the left? And the answer is yes. Has it taken it out yet? And the answer is no. Okay, it did do this swing and barely took out the low. And you'll see this lots and lots of times when they're getting ready to very possibly even change trends or give a deeper retracement. Okay, so draw on your charts and you'll see where resistance is. And like several people said, 1490, 1499.80, 1500 was where they're seeing it actually hit its head, which is right there at that swing. Okay, so you're still looking shorts until they break that. Now, it doesn't mean that if they're above mid-band, you couldn't box it in because, obviously, if this has gone up here, come back, and it's still getting higher lows, we may break this. But we'll know it the way we trade it, won't we? Okay, everyone, that's a wrap. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Just remember, identified swings are extremely important on your charts. The most important thing you have on your charts is identified swings. Because until they're identified, they are not swings. Okay? I will post this tonight, absolutely. All right, thanks everyone for coming. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll get this uploaded to our website. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the morning. Good night.